City of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
From Spectrum Community Services Studios in Colorado, USA, this is the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Hey, hello and welcome to another Mile High Hockey Lab. My name is Adrian Hernandez. I am here today with Ezra Parter, Jackie K, Brendan Vogt, and Evan Liu. We are excited. It's a wonderful day to be talking hockey. Right off the rip, y'all, I just want to say congratulations to one Erik Johnson, who did his retirement press conference today, was cutting some onions. I'm sure there were other grown men crying this morning in or around that area as well. Cheers to you, Condor. I did want to read off some of the messages that I saw from people. One of them said, the kind of guy who watched his team be in the darkest of times and reach the mountaintop with that same squad. And that is exactly how I will remember Erik Johnson, as he took alongside an elite core, a team from the doldrums into the Stanley Cup folklore of the modern era. So cheers to Erik Johnson, and cheers to all of you folks who are now tuned in live to this 114th edition of the Mile High Hockey Lab. Please head on over to the website, milehighhockey.com. You will find some written material. Got a preview coming out in the morning because guess what? It's hockey season, boys and girls. So let's just get right to it. I mean, as the entire hockey world was taken by storm by an incredibly surprising contract for one Connor McDavid, which comes in at a 2-year by $12.5 million AAV. No, that is not a typo. No, I didn't get that wrong. That is correct, and how the deal will come through. Evan, I'm going to start with you, my friend. That's a crazy, crazy number. Initial reaction to those numbers and terms, and then how does this change things, if at all, for Makar and Netchaz going?
Yeah, no, I saw the deal. Mondays are my busiest day when it comes to work and school and stuff. So I was able to sneak a peek of it. The news kind of came out during the lunch break, and I'm just sitting there. None of my coworkers or friends know anything about hockey at all. And it's just me. And I'm just sitting here like, huh? Like, what? This is real? No, it's kind of ironic that he gets a bridge deal, and I think it's the same AAV that he currently has now in this final 8th year of his contract. So that's kind of crazy. And I understand like the premise of why they're doing this. You made 2 Stanley Cup finals in a row. You want to try and build a team out of this and find a team that can actually win a Stanley Cup. So he takes, I guess, a sweetheart deal,
right?
But then we're doing this all over again in 2 years. Now, from a Colorado perspective, I think this is good. I know that McFarland was asked about it today about the contract and how it affects things like a Martin Necas deal, and they said it doesn't, which maybe there's not. I don't really think there's a ton of validity to that. Like there are obviously similarities with contracts and agents and whatnot, working with different teams, same team, and different player contracts for another team perhaps, but like I think it does help Nate just a little bit, because we've all been kind of waiting for this McDavid deal of, okay, he's probably going to get a lot of money, let's see what this sets the market as pretty much. But at least for now, it doesn't really change a ton, which I think helps Martin Necas price stay about the same rather than going up maybe a whole bunch than it might have been before. Granted, they are 2 caliber different players. Like McDavid's on another level and Necas is down here. So
sure,
at least it's good on that side. On the Makar side, again, I don't really think it changes a lot. I think really the only thing Makar decides to go down this similar path of, all right, we've been struggling. We haven't made it past the second round except for 2022. I'm going to be nice, I guess, and take a short deal, maybe the same amount of money, maybe a little bit more, go build a roster with the rest of this money and figure it out. But I don't think that they would do that, and I don't think the Avalanche will want to do that. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, that is where I was going to go with the question to Ezra, because you're keying on exactly what I keyed on, which is I don't think Necas or Makar maybe got more expensive. They're getting more expensive, but I don't think it's because of how this McDavid contract comes in. Nor do I think after our 2 really random pegs on the market board that are complete outliers that nobody can really reference. So it's kind of like everything's still up in the air. But it's interesting. The part that I do think could kind of become a trend is those shorter term contracts, especially with the rate of inflation that we're seeing. Ezra, where are you on that idea?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're Makar and you're thinking, okay, Connor just set himself up to maybe be up for $20 million a year in 2 years, when the cap has gone up to past 100, and teams might be willing to go into that high of a number for him. The same as cap peaks, not necessarily peaks. That's the wrong word, but hits that high mark. It is a reasonable financial consideration. But the other factor is these are 2 players in very different parts of their careers, I'd say. Cale is younger. Cale's not coming off of a $12.5 million a year contract. He's coming off of a $9.5 million a year contract. These are big numbers for anybody, right? But that $3 million difference adds up. He has more of a vested interest in getting a bigger deal, a longer deal, a more guaranteed money deal than Connor does at this point. So it kind of depends on what the player wants, but you definitely seeing this precedent out there is something that
especially because I think you're right. And Evan, you brought this up too, which is the tier of talent kind of thing again. Cale and McDavid are very much on the same tier. And that is why I feel like Necas' contract isn't quite figuring into this conversation as much as maybe we thought. But I'm curious, Brendan, where you're at on that. Do you think that this changes things for Necas? Would you rather him be on a short-term deal or a long-term deal, and give or take the two different contexts. Short term typically means less money, even in total dollars and in AAV, as we see with McDavid. And then, of course, the longer term deal, you're probably going to have to fork it over a little more.
Well, with Natchez, I want to see if he can fit in first. So I'm of the opinion, and I know Jackie's going to yell at me and hate me for this. I'm of the opinion, let's wait a little bit. Let's see what he can do. And then let's wait. Then let's sign him, because the problem with that is that he could raise his value by doing that. But let's see if he actually fits in with the team really well. Because at the beginning, when we got him, he fit in really well, and then all of a sudden just went silent. And then with Makar, I mean, Makar is getting 18 or 19. We all know that. So
especially now.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's just a given. If not, I mean, he may be the first like $20 million contract. Come on. So Makar is going to be an Av for life, and I think they're going to do anything and everything they can to get him to stay. So it is what it is. And then side note, I did want to give you guys and everyone who reads Mile High Hockey and pays attention to our pod, John Babiak, he had a heart transplant last week, and I visited him today. He is doing really well. He can actually walk upstairs now.
That's great news.
So he's doing really well. He's planning on doing a trip in 30 days. So I'm scared like no other for him. But I wanted to give everyone an update that for us. So you guys have probably seen his work without even realizing it. So just wanted to let you guys know.
Well, I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you giving that update, Brendan. I really do, because John the Photog is quite a guy. It makes total sense that he's already trying to get back at it. The dude he's
like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm like, dude, why don't you let the veins and the arteries just kind of connect first?
He's like the Sam Girard of photography, man. He's just itching to get back. Well, I'm glad you bring that up. But Jackie, I'm curious. I want you to rebuke any of the things that you've heard that you don't agree with. Rebuttal, I should say. And then also, I want your take on do you feel like because of that, does that mean we won't see a bunch of contracts coming in like we thought we would once McDavid signed?
Okay, you've given me a lot to unpack. Let's see if I can remember it all.
Okay.
And first of all, yes, Brendan, thank you for the update on John. We all wish him the best. I want to reiterate that. Okay, where to start? I'll say about see how Natchez does. I mean, if it was a matter of saying the magic number, giving him his number, just being like, okay, have a good couple months, and then we'll give you the number. Sure, that could work. But if you think it's like a carrot, he's not an RFA. He's a UFA. If he doesn't feel like you're committed to him, then he doesn't care. He doesn't care about him specifically. Short-term deal is not even in the universe for him. You have to look at, he has only had short-term deals his entire career. He is waiting for that commitment. He's waiting for that security. It's not even about necessarily where people are at in their careers and their ages. Look at the history of what they've been paid, and that's going to tell you their attitude and their viewpoint. So Natchez, he would probably laugh if they offered him a 2-year deal. That's just not going to happen, and it's not a good idea. I would say if the Avs were in a position where they still actually had the core together, they still had a lot of the cup winners together, and you could say we are going to focus only on short-term deals to really do it in the next 2 or 3 years, and maybe I could see that argument, but that ship sailed. So we're not getting benefit from 2-year dealing a guy like Makar or Natchez. Like I said, it's not going to happen. As far as I think the Kaprizov deal does impact him, and we'll see. Like you're right. We need to see another peg. We need to see how this affects. I think in particular because he's a wing. Or am I losing my mind? But he's, in the next tier down, and so I think that's gonna say it a little bit more. You need the ones that are a little bit closer to Natchez, but I think they're all gonna slot. So, I think it's all gonna matter. As far as McDavid, like nobody, nobody's gonna say, well, McDavid only took 12.5, so we're back at the old figures. No, that's not gonna work. Like if he had taken maybe 15, I could see some teams trying to say, well, do you really think you're worth more than McDavid? But I mean, at the structure of this deal, nobody is looking at McDavid and saying that this is relevant to you. He's made $100 million already. So again, he has the security to say he's basically just kicking the can down the road. It's the same contract. He's giving the Oilers room to make moves. So, I mean, good for him, but it's not going to correlate to anybody, really. Like I said, we need to see the next wave of contracts, but I do think what Kaprizov said is going to matter. Now, as far as Cale, I really don't think he's going to be in the 18, 19. If I had to guess, I would guess he's not going to take the absolute max, but he knows he has to set the D market. So I think he's going to be conscious of that. I feel like that's the sweet spot, that he's definitely going to set that bar, but he's not going to take every dollar he can.
Okay, so real quick, give me a ding. Steinberg just got sent down. And Middleton just got sent down. The season opening IR just got released. Adder, Barons, McDonald, O'Connor.
Did you say Middleton just got sent down?
Yeah, and Prishpatov and Soliev all injured. Or no, Prishpatov are injured. And non-roster Soliev.
Is this like private or public?
No, it's up on their Twitter.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even realize Steinberg was still with the group.
No, he wasn't, because he was sent down the other day after the game.
Yeah. So does this lead me to the correct interpretation that waiver claim they made a couple days ago is the new 7D rather than Middleton?
Probably.
Yeah, and my guess is that he's working on
some sort of
the
Visa.
Yes, thank you. It's been a long day.
Well, the Avs can't really keep track of their transactions, especially with the call-ups for the games. So what they've written as like, oh, we called these guys up there, it's incorrect. Like you have to check them against themselves, because they didn't mention it. I'll have to take a very close look at what exactly they're trying to do there. But I think with that, we have to think of the new waiver rule, or the send down rule that if you send.
It's not in effect until
right, but I think what they're going to set up for is to be relevant after that point.
Sure.
Is if they might have more of, like, in a way, sort of taxi squad where you're rotating through maybe several defensemen and several forwards. Like, are they going to completely give up the whole banking cap space? It's going to be more difficult to do that now, but do they have maybe 2D in mind, 2 forwards in mind that they're going to rotate? So that's what I'm looking for. Interesting.
It's very interesting that this well, Jackie, that's your ding as well, by the way. We'll get there. We'll be putting more marks on the scoreboard, but we were just waiting, and it's funny, everybody in Avs media was like, and there's the late off-season defenseman waiver acquisition that we were all waiting on. So that's interesting.
I think I was pounding that table harder than, oh yeah, we expected that. I mean,
you were saying like it's a hole, so they better fill it. That was more of what you were getting into, and I think you're right. And we should take solace in the fact that, I mean, I'm gonna have to update my board here and put a new name on it. Didn't even think about it. But good news is it does sound like Sam Gerard's coming back. So I do want to talk about opening week now, folks. And while I have everyone's attention, there's about 358 of you live viewers now. So thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast. We really appreciate you. You're the reason we keep coming back and doing this. Also the Avalanche as well. But the two of you parties are the reason we do this. But Evan, I'm going to come back to you. It looks like Gavin Brindley is going to play hockey for the Colorado Avalanche, as he's not one of the people who was sent down. And we're getting reports from some people that suggest he's been telling folks that he'll get his second NHL game come tomorrow night. Tell us, what are your thoughts on?
Yeah, no, he's been. I think he told someone. I saw in passing, at least anyway, while scrolling on my phone. So incredible opportunity. That's awesome. It's really good to see that the trade that not many people thought the Avalanche would get much out of has turned into this for Gavin Brindley, and it's turned into an opportunity. And I know we've talked about it before. Will this be a 2-game opportunity where he plays maybe a game or two? They don't see what they want to see, and they then send him down to the Eagles, and he just stays there forever? Or it's just going to be a serious trial where they'll give him a good 15, 20, 25 games to start the year and try and get a good adjustment going, get a good flow going there on that fourth line, because it's going to be a challenge when your fourth line center is also going to be brand new, and Bardakov, also good for him to make that roster spot that had kind of seemed like a certainty when training camp started, but we weren't really sure. That's seeing whoever two is on that fourth line, whether they decide it's going to be Kiviranta or Kelly, they have to find a connection there with Brindley and Bardakov. So I'm really interested to see how that turns out. I really hope it's not just like you get opening night and then you kind of go from there, because he deserves it. I think he's stood out, and it's good that Bednar has said that he's been good and unprompted brought him up, and it's hopeful. It makes me at least a little bit more hopeful for the youth of the Colorado Avalanche, or the lack thereof. So I'm hopeful that that's an opportunity and that it sticks, and that it's at least a good little start to the year, and perhaps kind of a gem in this Avalanche roster.
Yeah, it would be such a pleasant surprise, as you mentioned, to get a piece of that trade back in a way that could be meaningful as quickly as this could potentially be. But Ezra, where are you at in terms of your expectations, and talk about what an opening night against LA might look like in terms of like a matchup or what to key on for Gavin Brindley?
Yeah, I mean, I think my expectation is that he gets a look on the third line, and I hope that that's the case, because that's where he can do his play his most effective game. If he ends up on the fourth, we'll see what that looks like. I don't think that means he's being given the opportunity to really shine, as Evan was just mentioning. So, as far as how he actually plays, the expectation from me, and I think from the coaching staff, would be bring that high motor, forecheck super hard, defensive responsibility, and if you can chip in some offense, great. Obviously, we saw him chip in offense at a regular rate in the preseason, and that should not be the expectation for him as a third-line player or a fourth-line player potentially. But if he is able to really bring that forechecking, that defense, and keep his motor high, I think he has the skill and smarts to be a really effective player if everything else is going well. So that's what I think you have to look for. As far as against the Kings, matchup wise, they've got some slow defenders, and he is fast, man. There's a chance for him to really be effective on the forecheck and in just digging pucks out on the offensive side because of those slow defense. I think the Kings are in for a tougher season than they had last year, with changes on the blue line really feeling like a negative to me. So I expect we'll see that pretty quickly, because the Avs play with pace, as we all know, and the Kings just built themselves up to be a slow team. So
Yeah,
it's going to be an immediate clash of styles.
an immediate clash of styles. But like the thing that's been great for me from Brindley is how he jumps off the ice. Just like people talk about the smell test, he's the kind of guy who looks like he is just giving absolutely 110% the entire time he's on the ice. And I think you'll see a lot of people who maybe aren't as like tapped in as some of the more diehard folks like us are, start to get to social media early in game number 1 and be like, who is this guy? Because I love it. And it's just, and I'm not saying like he's gonna like jump off the sheet score wise or anything like that, but I just think the way he looks when he plays, I'm excited honestly to see how that shakes out. I know we're kind of worried about him being thrown to the wolves early, but stylistically going against the Kings, like I'm with you. He should hopefully take advantage of his explosiveness and his speed. And if he does get up on the third line, I think that's better in terms of testing out like his offensive acumen right now. Which Jackie, I'm sure you're kind of more focused on what sort of opportunity he gets rather than just being on the opening night lineup. But where do you sit on Brindley's expectations and going
nail on the head there? It depends what role he's given, what time on ice he's given. Even if it's good night 1, what does it look game 2? What does it look game 3? How long does it last? They've done in the past, they like to give the little pat on the back game, and then a week later, poof. So I'm looking for him to really make that first East Coast road trip. I think that's a milestone. But as we've seen with Ivan last year, even 40 games, it could even be meaningless. So, I mean, I'm excited for him. I'm glad they all that. It's definitely a positive. I'm not really investing a whole lot of thinking into this until I see an investment from the team. Like even Bednar said, I know everyone tweeted the quote, something about Bardakov and Brindley have earned the right to be on our lineup for now. Left that part out. For now. Bednar said it. For now.
He did,
so
yeah.
That's why I'm just like I said, I'm not negative about it. There's nothing negative about it, but I mean, okay.
One of them's going to have to go when LSC gets healthy. So,
well, I mean, I think something's going to happen before that. But I mean, who knows? Like, knock on wood, we don't want to see injuries, but things happen. You know, does that change the makeup of this decision? It's possible. But like I just mentioned, they're going to have to come up with new strategies to deal with this no paper transactions. So is there going to be more of like a quote unquote taxi squad? You know, why is Jack Sean on the team? Like he isn't, like, to me that feels kind of fake. Like, you know, Middleton has earned it more than him. You know, I don't know. That one's a little silly for me. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of not feeling their authenticity. So we'll see where it goes as an option. No other outlet was talking about him as a realistic option. And you can go back to our podcast from before camp, and you can go back to our last roundtable. It's in writing. So we'll just pat ourselves on the back here for that. But
just a little not too bad for some guys that aren't even and gals that aren't even in the room, right? Not too bad at all.
Exactly. The Avs are they love to be cloak and dagger, but they're so predictable.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's what you're afraid of, is the predictable becoming a reality, which is what's we've been shown in the past is they give these young guys a little look to do well or really bad. Often in times it doesn't go well later on in the experiment, and then they have the ammunition they need to send them down and not think about them again for another year. Which I hope that that's not the reality, and I think that there'll be fans like clamoring to see Brindley. And if that's the case, then I don't think that they'll do much to like not satiate that longing, because the fans want him. It's probably because he's getting on the score sheet. So
Yeah, that would
and we've
help.
seen him score in
I-
the preseason.
yeah,
Yeah, if
if
he
he
can
scores
get
a
on the
goal, that'll
score
help.
sheet, yeah.
I remember Peter
Well-
McNabb used to always say, "If you score, they'll never send you down." And then they did that to someone they called up, and it was like, well,
yeah.
you even made Peter McNabb look wrong. See what you did.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, Brandon, we haven't gotten to you in a while, so
I-
let's hear your beautiful voice. We got a home opener against Utah,
Yeah.
right? And we got Dallas Stars
Yeah.
already on Saturday. Between now and our next episode is a two-parter. Are the Mammoth a playoff team? And do you think there will be some animosity in the form of a fight on Saturday against Dallas?
Okay, I like the goalie of the Mammoth, but I don't think they're that good of a team. So he's still yeah, I'm not looking forward to the Dallas game considering they've already hurt how many players of ours. So they took out Barons and there was no announcement at all because he didn't.
Well, there still hasn't
Mhm.
been. Isn't that crazy that these guys just go through the trapdoor and like now they can't even be asked about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like so. Barons played 5-13 in the first, and nothing after that, and then they never even announced that he wasn't going to return to the game.
And it's a shame
Again-
because people are like, he had the major injury last year. Couldn't you just say like,
Well, they
Good
announced
deal or
that,
not?
but it's just we're kind of on the edge of our seat when it comes to Barons.
Yeah.
Like, is he coming back? Is he not coming back? And
the Eagles will probably have to tell us.
well, he's not with the Eagles, right?
I know, but that's the
So
only
probably
way.
not. Yeah.
That's the only way it's gonna come.
Yeah, so it's a little frustrating when it comes to that, and I know Sean was looking forward to it. That at least what he told me. He's just like, I want to get back to what I love doing, and that's playing hockey. And
Mhm.
instead of sitting around and watching everyone else do it,
Right.
Oh,
So why not
bummer,
just
dude.
tell
And we-
people if it's minor, that it's minor, and then people aren't like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, here we go again. Is this gonna be another huge
yeah,
setback?
and burning another year. It's just now we're sitting. It's like Barron's dead again, sober.
I'm gonna get a plaque with an Avs logo in the middle of it that says "No news is not good news,"
Yeah.
because I think that
Right.
is the case
But
in
it's
these
all
injury
of them.
situations.
It's
Which
it's it's crazy. Like, how can you have Prishapov go missing, and then it's like, okay, he at least played for you last year. Doesn't he give the
Well,
courtesy of like what happened to the like?
I mean, he's up and around according to his Instagram.
Okay.
So
I mean, that's good. He's not bedridden.
I'm not being a creeper. It's just,
Yeah.
According to Prishy's Instagram, he's up and around, he's walking around, but there's no announcement. This is the first we've heard anything from the team. So
It's just sad. It's just really that's what we're reduced to, is trying to find clues from Instagram. Like, why
Yeah.
do we have to be in that? It's just
and
so
then same thing with
frustrating.
Adder. It's like what's going on with Adder? Do we need to like all drop off and then come back just real quick?
Yeah, I was just
Audio.
about to say, yeah, let's end real quick. I'll send you guys a
Well,
new
like
link.
drop off one at a time and then come back.
Audio apparently. What I think we'll do,
Yeah, everyone who's in the
Yeah.
chat has complained.
buzzer on the audio. No ding to the audio this week. Let's do
If you
that.
think
Let's
it's best to restart,
right.
we can restart. Or is it going to mess up the live?
It's gonna mess up who's here. We already have 500 people here, so let's do what Brennan is saying. So close your guys' stuff out. I'll carry the show for a second here, and then once you all get back, I'll refresh myself, and we'll see if that
Okay.
fixes the issue. And Phil, I apologize for the technological woes. It appears as though the clouds rolled in, and then we lost reasonable and useful internet capabilities over here where I'm at. But we're gonna keep the show going. I was just about to ask Jackie about her outlook on the Mammoth and kind of how they will sort themselves out in the Central Division. And I'm curious because a lot of national pundits are basically referring to the Mammoth as a dark horse playoff team. And I, for one, I'm with Brennan. I don't necessarily see it with the current roster as constructed. They kind of strike me as a similar team to the Kraken a few years ago. So maybe they're dangerous on that level, like to the tune of having a lot of 20 goal scorers.
And they don't have a Brad Marchand.
Yeah, they definitely don't have a Brad Marchand, and apparently they're not getting a Connor McDavid anytime soon. So I don't see it. But some of the guys that I think we should be keying on in this next week as we watch the Avs play the Mammoth, the Stars, and then tomorrow LA. I know Anze Kopitar. This is according to the LA Kings. This is his last go at it. So. This is a veteran guy who has shown to have plenty of skill, and anytime there's a situation like that in the locker room, there's always that like go get one for the Gipper vibe. So I think the Kings will probably have a little more mustard than maybe other people are giving them credit for. And of course, the Dallas Stars I think are a playoff team. And I asked the question the way I asked it because I was curious if the Avs were getting seemingly 3 playoff teams right out of the gate. I think it's probably 2 of 3, but still a testy start, and I'm excited for it as we finally get to drop the puck tomorrow. I think there are a total of 3 games, with the Avalanche being the final game of the evening. So late start, right off the rip, Avalanche fans. Evan, I'm so sorry, buddy, you East Coaster. It'll be the next day by the time the game's over for you, my friend. Audio woes, and if not, folks, I apologize. We'll make sure we fix her up the next time we get out here. But I do want to get y'all's season predictions, and I have 5 different things that I'm curious about. And I'll just start with you, Ezra. Here are your season predictions for the 2025-26 seasons for the Colorado Avalanche. I'll start number 1. Where do the Avalanche finish in the Central?
Yeah, I mean, I'm stoked about this Avs team, and I'm pretty down on the Jets. So I do think it comes down to the Avs and the Stars, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say Avs number 1. I'm in.
Yeah, baby. Okay, so who leads the Avs in goals this year?
Ooh, let's see Avs in goals. I'm gonna say Nichushkin.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
Number 3. Who will lead the Avs in points?
Oh, Nathan McKinnon.
That being in the playoffs, or where in the playoffs or not in the playoffs?
Ooh. I mean, I hate to just go all homer all the time, but this team has a real shot at the cup. I think Western Conference final against Dallas is pretty expected at this. I mean, that can't be is not possible because of the Pacific versus Central finish that will happen. So if they avoid Dallas earlier, then that it's going to come down to an Edmonton, a Vegas, maybe an LA Kings, probably not. Can they beat those guys? I think so.
Yeah.
Can they beat the Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup final with Florida Panthers? But Florida Panthers with no Barkov, that's a different game,
Yeah.
right? So I'm gonna.
They have Brad Marchand.
They do, and
Only got
I
2.
really don't care about him. So I'm gonna. So I'm gonna say Avs Cup. Avs Cup. It's 2001
go,
again.
baby.
Do it.
Love it. I love it. Oh, that is a great start to our season predictions, Ezra. That is a great start.
We
Brennan,
started
it's
with
your
the
turn
optimist
now.
on purpose. Huh?
Hey, we know what we're doing around
That's
here.
right.
Brendan, what you got for me? Where will the Avs finish in the Central by you?
I think Ezra's right. Jets are falling. I think the Preds are going to make a run for it because they're going to get their chemistry together, but they're not going to finish ahead of the Avs. It's going to be up to the Stars and the Avs. So I say the Avs take it, but I may be biased.
You might be just a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. Who will lead the team in goals?
I want to say Kale.
In goals,
Mm.
I love that prediction. By the way, I don't think you're far off because I think the goal distribution might be more varied this year with the reinsertion of
I
Jack.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
plenty.
Hey,
That's
and
enough to
I
win
mean,
another
God,
Norris.
carried my fantasy team last year. So
Well, then I wonder if this answers the next question.
Leads
Who's
in
going to lead the
points?
points? Yeah,
Nate.
Nate
Come
leads
on.
in points still.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
go.
He's
by
just
you,
gonna
where
make
will
up
the
for it in assists.
I dig it. And by you, where will the Avs finish?
In the conference or in the division?
In the season.
In the season. They'll make it to the second round, but unfortunately get bumped.
Oh boy. Fans aren't going to like that one. Fans aren't
Well,
going to like that one.
I can deal.
All right,
I'm a realist.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go to the queen of realism now.
I like
And
that.
I'm going to
I
ask
do
you,
actually
Jack.
like
We'll
that.
start with number one. Where will the Avalanche finish in the Central?
I'll say third.
Okay.
I put in our roundtable 100 points. I'm going to go with that. They've had their points percentage decline every year for 5 years. So
Interesting.
I think I see that trend continuing. But a 100-point season isn't bad. It's probably more than likely they'll make the playoffs. And we saw you don't need to be any higher than third. I think both Edmonton and Florida were third last year. So it's not like huge indictment of them. I just think other teams are better, have better regular seasons. I think the Wild, I mean, they were really hot last year until they got major injuries. So with the Kaprizov thing behind them, I mean, that team has young talent. So I think if the Jets take a step back, I think it might be the Wild filling their shoes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's where I'm at with that.
to your credit, I mentioned them as like the sneaky team in the Central for the same reasons. Brandon has a very, very sexy pick for the sneaky team in the Predators because everyone had them pegged as like a super team going into last season, and that absolutely did not happen. They could not win a road game, which is the craziest thing, one of the craziest things I've ever seen. But Jackie, keeping it with the Avs, who do you think will lead the team in goals?
I'll say McKinnon. I mean, if they're really going to get far, you probably want the answer to be either Natchez or Nelson. I mean, if they're really going to get somewhere, but I think it's going to be McKinnon. He's their clearly their best forward. So McKinnon. You hope so. If McKinnon doesn't lead in points, there's probably a problem.
Okay, yeah.
You want that.
So McKinnon in goals and points.
Yes.
I think that's a good bet. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a good bet. And then
Addendum
lastly,
question.
yeah, what's up?
Question for
Well,
the
I do
whole,
have a
the whole group.
question. I hope Aiden didn't forget. I do have a question for the whole group in a bit.
I didn't.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
But addendum question: is McKinnon going to break his own record?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay,
Not
so
with
we're
back.
unanimous on that.
Yeah.
Is
Sounds like
Ezra
it.
frozen?
No, he said no.
I can't wait for us to all be wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. All right, Jackie. Well, where will the Avs finish in terms of the season?
I mean, they could be not quite as good, but yet make it to the second round. But I'll keep and make it to the second round. But I'll keep the realism going. I'll say first round again.
Okay. The Queen of Realism has a brutal another first round exit. Oh man. Like,
where did realism end and pessimism begin? Who knows?
It's just the facts, man.
Well,
It's just facts.
when I don't know, Ezra. My answer to your question is when the reality of Mikko Rantanen eliminating the Avalanche in the first round presents itself. It's hard not to go worst case scenario now.
I mean, I don't think I mentioned the worst case scenario here. Let's get real.
But
no, you didn't.
I don't like. There's space for everyone's thoughts on this, and I think like this team is kind of a little bit of a paradox or a paradigm in the sense that like they have all of the things it takes to be a very, very good team, but they have, in my mind, for a few years. And I think that's where the realism comes into the back of my mind as well. But Evan, we're going to quickly rattle yours off. And then I'll give my answers and we'll do our bold predictions and we'll call it. All right. So where will the Avs finish in the Central?
Yeah, it's another race between Dallas and Colorado. I'm going to give it to Dallas, unfortunately. So I'll have the Avs pegging a second place finish.
Okay. Who will lead the Avs in goals?
You guys are going to like my answer, but I want to explain my reasoning for it afterwards.
I know who it's going to
Yeah,
be.
what do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, I think. Does he wear 88?
No, he does not wear 88.
Does he wear 92?
He wears 92. Gabriel
Okay.
Landeskog. And here's
That's
my
not a bad
reasoning
idea.
for this, okay? It means, one, the Avalanche have very good depth, so Landeskog can move up and down the lineup no matter whoever's where, right?
Mhm.
That means that he can score, he can assist, he can do whatever he wants. It's going to be great. And I could see a lot of those coming on a very successful power play. They weren't too bad in the preseason. I didn't mind it at all. I mean, it's a little choppy, of course, preseason, but I was encouraged. It wasn't the same old that we've gotten used to for the last 10 years or however long it was. So if that all goes together, I could see Landeskog leading in goals. And and that would also mean, I meant to say this too, that he stays healthy, that he plays all the games, that he's involved. And I mean, he's going to be driven enough anyways that I could see him just willing out 20 goals alone, just out of will. So
I love that.
I like that one as a sneaky pick.
I love that as a pick too, because like I said this in the roundtable that came out on the site today. Like I see the Avs getting a lot of. I said this about Nichushkin, but I think it's true for Landeskog as well, which is that we'll see a lot of redirection and rebound goals this season, more than we're used to, because that was a thing that Landeskog was so good at before he got injured. Something he was starting to get better at that we honestly, I don't think saw even get to as good as it could be, because he was just sort of adding it to his arsenal after watching Pavelski do that for years and years. So, and by the way, there's a guy named Brant Burns who used to feed Pavelski those opportunities for a living. Landeskog and Burns be close in the build-up to this season in a lot of the media that the Avs put out. And I think that relationship will get to the forefront of this Avalanche team in a way that will insulate like McKinnon and McCarr like they used to be when Landeskog was on the team. So that'll be very interesting. I love that pick.
I knew that
what about
would be
points?
nice. I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to say McCarr. Just because. Why not? Might as well.
Yeah.
My fantasy team thanks you.
All right. And then lastly, where will this Avalanche team finish when all of the dust settles and the confetti falls?
Yeah, see, this is where my head and my heart conflict, because obviously the heart wants to go all the way, right? But my head, I just don't see it yet. And knowing, too, that this probably will not be the same team that comes together, by the time of injuries or a massive amounts of trade again, like we just don't know. So I can at least see them getting out of the first round this time. But I mean, if they run into Dallas again in that second round, if it's lined up to be like that, unless Dallas is a wild card team, then I feel like it's another heartbreaking loss to the Dallas Stars in the second round.
Oh, Ouchtown population, us, bro. If that happens, but I'm with Ezra. I think what's going to end up happening, because those are all great answers, and thank you to the four of you for giving your input on that. I'm now going to tell you what's going to happen. Just kidding. I do think, in terms of the division, I do think, as you guys have all mentioned, the race is between Colorado and Dallas, and I think Colorado wins, and I think that effectively affords them the opportunity to play anyone else besides Dallas in the playoffs, because of how the Pacific,
maybe they should go for the first wild card.
Yeah, one or the other, right, Jackie? And then in terms of leading the team in goals, I do agree with Ezra. I think it's going to be Nichushkin. I think he's going to get on an early tear, and we might see him set like a career high in a way that we didn't really expect because we haven't seen him stick around. And honestly, I think he's in his prime now, and he was still growing into his prime when we've seen him have his most success in terms of the team and stuff. So I'm excited for Nichushkin's year offensively. I think the person who will lead the team in points is named Nathan McKinnon. I think he'll lead the entire league in points this season. And I don't think it'll be even a gaudy number. I think the entire league is going to see a stronger distribution, or more varied distribution of points. And we won't see like some of the gaudy goal totals and point totals that we've seen in the past. Maybe from Cale Makar still, though, in terms of defenders, that might still be a thing. And then I think that this Colorado Avalanche team is going to hoist the Stanley Cup. Shock and surprise. That's my take, but I have my reasons. And I'll say this. A lot has been said about the Avalanche and the Denver Broncos in this past week. Maybe we'll talk about that later.
No, don't start.
Well, I'm not going to. Let me finish. You're stopping me from moving on really quickly. But
because I guarantee you, I have
compare this. I compare this
think
to
we
the
all
two
do.
teams that the Avalanche or that the Broncos had. One year they had a team with Peyton Manning, and it was literally the most prolific offense in the history of the game. And they ended up getting thumped in the Super Bowl. Absolutely destroyed. Fast forward a few years later, and now they have the best defense in Broncos history. Maybe Orange Crush could get close. And that's how they end up winning the Super Bowl, with a wounded Peyton Manning, with the statistically worst quarterback to win the Super Bowl ever. And I think therein lies an example for us to remember as Avs fans, which is this. When you have the key pieces, there are different ways to find a way and to get the job done. It's easier to do that with those key pieces. It's not always the same approach. Equifinality, right? There's a million ways to the same destination.
So
and I think the Avalanche
could have won with Georgiev.
I don't know, maybe, but I'm telling you,
because that's what I just heard.
Blackwood. They could win it now with Blackwood. Even when they won it in 22 to the goaltending stuff, they said that was average goaltending. So.
I guess,
but that's just what I think. My viewpoint is that maybe this doesn't look like that team in 2022, but maybe it doesn't have to. That's it. Jackie, let's hear it.
No, I was just gonna say, Blackwood's an interesting one because I think he gets like a total free pass because he's not Georgiev. Like, at what point does that run out? Like, at what point are we allowed to criticize Blackwood? I mean, he ended the playoffs with a negative goal saved above average. So
I mean, it's really when it becomes disastrous and a trend. I feel like Georgiev. That was, I mean, granted, Georgiev recovered after game one in Winnipeg in, what was it, 24? So, and he rebounded and took the Stars to 6 games in the next round. Like, that's not something to discredit. And I think Blackwood can be better.
And he was obviously hurt, too, during that.
I think it's funny that outsiders ding the Avs for giving Blackwood too much money, which I'm like, wow, if that's what you're picking on. There's a few other things you can pick on. Like, to me, I don't really have a problem with the contract. I just think he's getting a total free pass. But that was not my question for the panel, if that's what you were setting me up for. I do have an actual question.
Now, this is Jackie's moment to grill us.
Okay, no, I truly am curious to hear opinions because I don't think this has been talked about enough. What exactly are the expectations for Brock Nelson? What does he have? What does a season from him look like that justifies the contract? What meets or exceeds expectations? Because I don't think anybody's talked about this. They're just like, oh, 2C, great, super. Well, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Not having to use
what are your
just for men.
expectations? Okay. And then I would say one is you don't have to go get another one. Yeah, I mean, that would be clear. But let's actually say, what does the guy have to do to earn those expectations?
My answer just really quickly, is pretty much the same for anyone you ask that about, which is how does he impact the team and the outcome in the playoffs? I could honestly care less how it looks in the regular season if he sputters here and there, and that it's not like the point production that we need. But there's going to come moments in the playoffs where you're going to know who it was and who it wasn't. And I want the answer for Nelson to be who he was. He was who it was, and the reason why the Avs win, or one of the reasons why the Avs win. That'll be a success for me, because I don't think it's as easy as points or goals or anything like that, because that's really not what Kadri did. Sure, Kadri scored, but it was the moments. It was what he did against St. Louis after running Binnington, quote unquote. It was what he did against Tampa with one hand, made Kadri what we want from a 2C again. So that's my answer.
I will say an aside that you bring up playoff production or playoff impact. Would you guys be surprised to learn that Nechas was the team leader in 5-on-5 points? For someone that gets dinged so much about his playoff performance, yes, he led the Avs in points, 5-on-5 points.
That is definitely a surprise to me, because granted, the entire team was off in that first round against Dallas,
and it was like 5.
Yeah,
like
that.
But no, sorry. Just so you bring up that the playoffs is where you make your name. I mean, that's fair, but I think there has to be a number, at least. I mean, my number is 30 goals, 70 points. I think that is a lot, but I think that's what the acquisition, the contract, the role. Bednar says he expects a lot out of him. Like, is that what they're expecting?
Yeah, I was going. Sorry.
I don't think that's.
So I was looking back here through his stats page. Like, the highest points that he has came in 22.
I think it was
75. 82 game season, 36 goals, 39 assists for 75 points. So it's definitely on the lofty end that you bring up Jackie. And sure, probably it's not understandable. It's, I guess, what's being asked for of the contract, as you say. I feel like maybe something a little, because he's around 50 or 60, points on average. He plays 82 games or close to it, at least, more often than not. Full season. So the lowest that he had was 56 games, and that was in the shortened COVID season where he had 33 points. So I feel like it's probably, gosh, I guess if you have to put a number to it, I'd say probably it's not as high as Jackie's, where it's like 30 goals, 70 points. I would say it's probably around 25 and 55, 25 goals, 55 points, maybe. I think that might just be the base. I feel like, obviously, if he goes above that, great. If he reaches that 70-point mark, we're looking at Kadri 2.0 from 21-22, which would be great. But I feel like that's a little lofty and maybe a little bit too much on Nelson. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I feel like somewhere in that range, though, is right. 50 to 70 points.
I mean, I'm not saying there's a right answer. I just genuinely am curious, like, what do people expect from him?
It is something that hasn't
what
been
is meeting
talked
expectations?
about, yeah.
I mean, like I said, being able to fill that role and they don't have to look elsewhere. I think that's one thing without looking at numbers. But I feel like they lean on that second line a little too much. I think that this has been part of their problem. They don't really think of it as like a scoring top 9, and I think that's what has put too much pressure on that second line, especially that second line center. He has the potential to be better than what they've had in there, but it is also a role that they're going to ask super a lot from. So I don't know. I'm just curious. Because it's never really been verbalized. What does Brock Nelson need to do to be that guy?
Yeah, I'm curious, Ezra. What do you think? Where does your Hoosier meter start to tip?
Yeah, I mean, I think the numbers Jackie just laid out would be awesome. That's a serious, like, okay, that we won that that contract. Like that's wonderful. If he hits the numbers Evan's saying, I also feel like we won that contract. That is acceptable. If he doesn't reach what Evan's talking about, that's when we're in the territory of like, okay, what else is going on when he's on the ice? Does he justify his contract by winning his minutes? And I don't think he can really, like, if you look over the course of the season at all of his matchups, all of his underlying statistics, even the eye test, all of it. If it seems like he's winning his time on the ice, and he's not putting up 50 points, doing it 60. For me, the baseline is that second line wins its minutes. And I think to do that, he'll have to put up 60-ish points, 25-ish goals, 60-ish points. That feels right. But bottom line, if that line with him and him and Landeskog, which I think will be that'll be the duo that sticks together for most of the season, they looked so good in the minutes that they got so far. If they can keep that up, I think we're gonna be happy.
Yeah, I love that. And I still keep coming back to this Burns and Landeskog thing.
I love that
because
I love that you brought that up.
That team, that group of 5 with potentially Gerard, Burns, Landeskog, and Nelson and Lehkonen or Nichushkin. Who knows kind of how that'll sort when all the dust. Like that has the potential to be like, remember how the Vegas second line was talked about the year they won the Stanley Cup, where it was like, yeah, this first line is great, they score a lot, but that second line is impossible to play. I think there's potential for that as a full 5 with that second pairing as well. So I really like that. Brendan, your thoughts real quick on what success looks like for Brock Nelson.
28 goals. I'd say 60 points. Because that's about where he hovers. It's where he's been with the Islanders. So I wouldn't expect much more than where he's been with the Islanders. He's going to have the Gabe Landeskog effect with that. So there's going to be a lot of tip goals, I'm sure, taken away from Landy, just standing there and just tip. So he may get a little bit more assist. I mean, think about how many goals that Landy's taken away from, like, Kale and Nathan McKinnon and everyone. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but how many goals does
what a mean guy?
Yeah, how does Landy have by tipping it? So
yeah,
he'll probably get a few that way.
I dig that a lot, Jackie. That's a great question because you're right. Like, I think the Natchez contract has stolen a lot of everyone's attention, and it's
just
made
very set and forget,
the
and I don't really
expectation.
think a lot of their solutions are set and forget. So I think it is worth a discussion.
So well, when you're supposedly had that set and forget like 2 times before this, get it, or at least 1 at a minimum. Which, I mean, I guess Middlestat wasn't so much a set and forget. There was a little prove it there, but it was supposed to work. Otherwise, they wouldn't have tried it, and it didn't. So it's a good question. Like, it's not the second C thing is not necessarily completely solidified, at least in terms of proof to that point. So I dig that question. Really quickly, before we do our bold predictions, is there anything else?
I just want to say that's a sweet hat, Adrian, and go Broncos.
Thank you.
That's a Broncos.
Go Broncos.
I haven't watched a hand egg ball in 2 years.
It was a good game yesterday.
It was a good game. Hey, you heard Cale Makar said he's a Bo Nix guy through and through, so we'll just leave it at that. But let's roll our sponsor, and we will give our bold predictions, and we have some dings to give out. Actually, let's do that first. Let's give out our results before we roll the track here. Evan, you said that the Avalanche would sweep a back-to-back, and I'm kind of starting to think you jinxed them because that didn't happen. So here's your wrong buzzer. Sorry, bro. You also had TJ Tynan to score a goal, which didn't happen. So
like
here's
I said,
another wrong buzzer.
Keep me out of the running for whatever that prize is at the end of the year because it's not off to a good start.
Jackie, you had Kiviranta playing on McKinnon's wing. We'll find out. You said that the Avalanche would make a waiver claim before this episode, and by God, that is a ding for you, Jackie. Congratulations. That gets you on the board. You also said that Colton will start opening night at 3C. We will find out tomorrow. And that's what you have so far. So I'm going to put your point in there right now, Jackie, which brings us to a 1-1 tie between Jackie and Ezra so far. Brennan, you said that Steinberg would make the opening night roster.
Yeah.
Not quite.
That's a no.
That will not happen. That's a no for me, dog. You have Logan O'Connor coming back November 11th. We shall see. You have Landy scoring 30 goals. I love it. And you also had Captain Eagle Magna scoring a goal. I don't think that happened either.
No,
Sorry,
it
buddy.
didn't.
Oops.
Wrong one.
The wrong one. This is the one I was looking for. There it is. All right. Ezra, you had Trent Miner not giving up a goal. Another goal for the rest of the preseason. No,
What?
that did not. Why am I? Jesus.
Wild swing. that
I think
missed out.
I think that was done in like what 5 minutes or whatever. I was
Yeah.
Yeah. And you also have a season-long prediction of Colton spending more games at center than wing. Right now, Bednar is holding strong on that Jack Drury for 3C. So we shall see how that sorts out. I have a long-term prediction of Martin H. signing a 5-year by $10.88 million contract. I still like that figure. I like it even more today with the McDavid news. And I said that the Avalanche would make a trade during last week's game just after the show, and that was incorrect, unfortunately, for me. All right, that cleans the slate. It is time for us to run that track, roll the sponsor, and give this week's version of both predictions. Folks, please head on over to Bruce Ale House Brewing Company in Pueblo, Colorado, where you can find some delicious beverages and food. But on this segment, we get bold, just like some of the beer there at Bruce Ale House, and we make predictions that will sort themselves out before our next episode. And as you just saw on the next episode, we will hand out dings and wrong buzzers. I'm going to go ladies first this week, Jackie, as it's the first week of the regular season, and you were the only one to get a ding last week. So you have the honors.
I will say Brinley will be sent down before next show.
I can unfortunately see that one being true.
Really?
He is waiver exempt.
I mean, sorry.
These
aren't bold hopes, folks. Not bold hopes.
Yeah, not always bold hopes. Exactly. Do you think that will be like a temporary sent down, or like a right on kid? Good job. Now have fun in the A.
I could see it go either way. Like I said, I wonder if they're going to sort of create this little taxi squad where they're maybe flip a couple guys back and forth. But he's so young, though. I don't think they're quite ready to commit. So,
okay.
I mean, I'm not going to say if they send him down once, that's it. Like, they probably would look at it. I don't know. But
okay.
I would
I'm
say,
just curious, kind of.
Yeah, I would say if they send him down, it's not for like one day or one AHL
Gotcha.
game.
Well, yeah, if they do it before the 10th, they can do the 1 day thing, and then after that, he has to play an AHL game.
Yeah, but I'll
Okay.
say before our next show, which I think the Buffalo game's on Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that gives me 4 games. I think that would be a pretty long leash for him.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
Not
I
really.
know.
I hope he
I know.
stays. But I'm with Evan. Like I could definitely see that. Evan, let's hear
Thank you
yours
for
then.
bringing up that the Avs are coming to my neck of the woods in a week. Can't wait. Game 4 of the year. I'm excited for it. It's going to be my dad's coming out for it. It's it's my fall break. So that'll be fun. It'll be my girlfriend's first ever like hockey game, like ever. So hope it's a good one. But my prediction won't be about that game. I got 2 that I'm teetering on, and I also have to give a season one because I haven't given one yet to you, Ado, but I'll save that one for later.
No.
I'm going
Okay.
to pick the fun one that I think has less of a chance of happening, but I'm going to pick it because it's fun. I'm going to say that Bardakov scores his first NHL goal before our next show.
I like it.
That would be,
That
that would
is
be a
fun.
good,
I
that
like
would
that.
be a good bold prediction to get right, and I would like that. As for my season-long one, I think I'm 2 for 2 with it. I'm going to go 3 for 3 with it. I think the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to miss the playoffs.
That's bold.
Listen,
Yeah, I was gonna say
no,
that's
hold on.
not bold.
Okay, if it's bad, it's bad. But I still like when you have Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin on your team, like you still have a shot.
I think it's still a
Can I pick San Jose to miss the playoffs?
Oh, come on. No,
I was gonna say, it would be bold
Jackie.
to say like the Boston Bruins would make the playoffs.
The
Would it
Sharks
be-
and Penguins are not on the same level.
I
Like, the
don't
Penguins
know.
still
You're
have
right.
enough
The
shots.
Sharks are way
saying
better.
that they're
Okay.
basically trying to tank.
Well, I'll say this. That statement really ends in an ellipsis, right? Because the Penguins won't make the playoffs again. ... Because that's really how the NHL world will view it. Because Sidney Crosby has been way more vocal and open to not being a Penguin than ever. So I think it's something to monitor this season. I will agree that it's not necessarily the most bold thing, but I'll give you the boldness on the ellipsis, because if that happens, some things will change. And it's
No.
a season
Thank you,
No,
thank you,
82
Adrian. Yes,
games.
it's an 82. Hell, who's the team in Pittsburgh's division? Like, they could lose 2 of their top 3 stars. The Capitals. The Capitals could
Capitals.
lose Ovi, and that's their season over. Like, the Penguins, you never know. You never know. And thank you. Yes, it's an 82 game season. It's a long.
Hey, get off my boy's back, all
I'm
right?
gonna keep.
Ovi broke his leg last year and they still took first, but that's fine.
He's gonna pull his
listen,
hamstring.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you for still going with it, Ado, even if the
I
panel
love it.
doesn't agree.
Hey, you know
Ovi
what?
is a
I gotta
Russian
do it.
machine that never breaks, guys. Come on. Even
Yeah,
he
that's
plays
true.
with broken leg.
Yes. Well, Brennan, I'm glad you're speaking, because now it's your turn. What's your bold prediction?
Sweep of the Wranglers over the weekend. For Coach
Sweep
Test.
again.
Without Trent Miner, woo.
Sweep.
It's Coach the Test
All right,
debut.
Nice. I dig that. I dig that a lot. And I'm excited to see more of your Eagles coverage this year, Brennan.
Yeah,
So keep
because
up the
Kyle
good work.
Keyser is going to probably get the crease over the weekend.
Nice. That is bold indeed.
And that is the most talkative goalie I've ever run into, I swear to God.
Really? Oh.
Oh, God, the guy won't shut up.
Ezra, what do you got for me this week?
Okay. The players that I wanted to talk about have already been touched on. So, Adrian, would you rather hear a Bardakov prediction or a Trent Miner prediction?
I'd rather
Miner.
hear Miner. Yeah, that's my vote too.
Okay. Trent Miner will have 1 NHL win before our next show.
Ooh, I like that
Ooh.
one's spicy. I like that.
Yes.
And just to throw
that's
it in
a
there, you
good
don't
one.
have to buzzer me or ding me, but I'll just say Bardakov 6 or more penalty minutes.
God.
I was gonna.
He's
ask
going to get that
everybody.
tomorrow.
I mean, not an official bold prediction, but do we think Brindley or Bardakov is going to score first?
For my sake, Bardakov.
Brindley.
I think Brindley. I was going to
Yeah.
say Brindley goal, but then I didn't want to also do Brindley.
I
so-
love the fact. So I was doing the season prediction questions, and the fifth one that I omitted was who will lead the team in penalty minutes. And Middleton got sent down because he was the easy pick.
Yeah.
Now it feels like Bardakov is the new. Yeah.
But how many games is he going to play?
Yeah, and the same
Well, it
question was
makes
there
it
for
super
Middleton,
easy.
right? Like
Well,
that is
and,
actually. a
and
tricky
here's
one
the
to
funny
answer.
thing is that Middleton's going to take that out on like that anger now out on someone's face.
Oh my
I'll
Wait.
say Josh Manson.
Yeah, I was
I was gonna say,
that
but
too.
the same dilemma though, right? How many games is
That's
Manson
why
gonna play?
when you said that question, my head went to Parker.
Yeah, it
Kelly.
is a good question. Also, he might not play 82 or close
Yeah.
to it, but yeah, that's a good one.
I like that Kelly prediction. Evan is a good one too. I think.
No, Kelly's good. Yeah.
All right, so that just leaves me for
Hmm.
my bold prediction. For the first bold prediction of the year, I'm gonna go with one that's kind of been said already, but I'm gonna double down on it, Evan. I'm not trying to overshadow you, but I just think, and I hope, this is a bold hope. I hope that this is the year of young kids coming back to the forefront of the Avalanche lineup and being kind of the story that we didn't see coming. And I think Bardakov and Gavin Brindley have
Two
points
first. I don't mind
this
that.
week.
I like it. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it'll happen.
That'd be good.
Points for both rookies. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. And then we will see about that season-long HS 10 point. I'm going to keep saying 10.88 because I really want that to happen. And I'm just going to keep putting it out into the universe for everybody. And just pick it up and repeat it to your friends, and then it'll probably really happen. It's, law of attraction. That's how it goes. But we have 913 of you tuned in live right now. So thank you so much for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab. It means a lot to us. It's going to be a wonderful year. We kept the core together. No trades in the middle of the night while Ado's at Dave and Buster's. It's going to be Ezra, Brendan, Evan, Jackie, and me all year, and we will have your Avalanche coverage. Be sure to head on over to Hockey Mountain High as well, where you can see Evan and Brendan doing their thing. Head on over to the website, milehighhockey.com. We have our round tables. We'll be doing previews. Cupcakes is back, Jackie.
Yes.
Cheers to that. That's really awesome.
Anyone in the
Cupcakes
know,
is
any
back.
of you OGs out there, the cupcakes, the true, authentic cupcakes.
Yes, head on over there. And of course, please smash the follow button on wherever you're watching or listening right now. And follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, where you can see every single one of these episodes, as this is our 114th edition. Follow all of us fancy people on social media and all of that wonderful jazz. So I think that's going to leave it here. We're just going to leave it here. We finally get to watch some hockey tomorrow and over the next week. And when we do our next episode, we are really going to be hitting the ground running. And I have a feeling it's going to get spicy right off the rip and stay spicy for a while. So thank you to the four of you, Ezra, Brandon, Evan, and Jackie, on behalf of the Mile High Hockey Lab, and honestly, just on behalf of Ben, who wants really badly to talk about the Avs no matter what. So that's why we're all here. I'm really excited for this season. I hope my prediction is right and the Avs end up hoisting, because that's always good for numbers and it's always good for the soul, baby. It's good for the soul. So hopefully we see some of those bold predictions come true, Avalanche fans. But until next time, all I have to say to you is go Avalanche.
Thank you for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab.